Welcome back to Turning Hard Times into Good Times. I'm your host, Jay Taylor, and I'm really glad to have with me Chen Lin, my partner, and it's been way too long since I've had Chen on. Thanks for joining me again, Chen.
Thank you, Jay. I appreciate the opportunity.
Always good to have you with me. Gold is having one of the best years it's had in quite some time. It's up around 27% or so from January. It's broken through some key resistance levels. Michael Oliver, who we just had on the show, has been quite bullish on it. He saw, from a momentum perspective, not from a trading perspective, but longer term, thought that gold was getting ready for a major move. You were a little less bullish to start the year, and you had your good reasons as well. You thought maybe 2016 might not be the year for gold. You thought 2017, even 2018 or so. Well, what are your thoughts now? Are we seeing the real move in gold, or do you think this is sort of a head fake, Chen?
Oh, yeah. I originally thought my prediction was 2017 because there are a couple of reasons. Usually, a dollar bull market lasts about average 6 years. We're the fourth year into the dollar bull market. So I was hoping, maybe the dollar bull market will last, continue, and then we get in the year before the end of the dollar bull market. But right now, there's all the different things happening around the world. So it's the pattern got changed. So I was not as bullish as I could at the beginning of the year, but I've been, I've done some very, successful trade in gold and silver stocks. Exactly. And right now we are getting at an inflection point. So usually gold, if you look at the seasonal pattern of gold, they usually correct around the summer. Okay. The reason is that after the excitement summer, and there's nothing happen, so gold tend to drip down during the summer months. However, starting September, we are ahead of the traditional Indian wedding season, and then we will have the Jewish holidays, and then Christmas and Chinese New Year. So September is traditionally a starting of the gold strong season, physical strong season. Okay, and then there's another reason. Recently, I saw the report. The Indian Q2 demand was down 70-80%. Right, China was down less, 30-40%, partially due to the sharp runoff of gold. All these jewelry shops, they start to withhold the purchase, right? Hoping. That's my interpretation, okay? Yeah. There are people reading different way. There are people say, because gold goes up, the China-Indian demand are down. I don't think so. No. I think those jewelry shops are withholding and hoping, gold will come in, gold and silver will come in so they can buy. So I see the seasonal demand this year will be stronger than usual.
Very interesting. Well, interesting insight. So it certainly makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense to me. Do you have a couple of gold shares that you're particularly fond of now?
Yeah, the Noble Resource that's you just discussed. That's went up more than 20%. That's extremely happy. When I came back for vacation, first thing I tell my subscribers to get into the 85 cents private placement with a full warrant. Now even the warrant was almost in the money. So that has been it's a very, very nice run for the stock.
Sure has been.
It's tried to look for a giant deposit. You know more than I do. And you've been telling me in the past years, and thanks to your advice, I met the management quite a few times, and I know the story not as well as you, but quite well. So I'm quite excited about the prospect there. Their bulk sampling, their drilling program should be very exciting in the next few months.
Yeah, I think so, Chen. I really believe so. Of course, after a big day like today at 24-25% move, I'm sure there's some people that are thinking about selling. But, I'm in this for the long run, and I think based on what I know fundamentally, this has a lot further to run, but time will tell for sure. I thought that about some other stocks, and I was wrong. So you never know. We just do the best we can, Chen. Always try to understand as best we can, and then honestly talk about it. I know you do the same thing. So you've always liked Oceana for quite a while. There's some of the other major, bigger stocks that you were involved in. You still like Oceana?
Yeah, I like Oceana. They're going to start a new mine in South Carolina. This will be the first ever new mine in South Carolina for a long time. So basically, they're looking for it's a low cost, $500, and they potentially consolidated the whole area. So, and plus they have other mines in New Zealand and Philippines that generate a lot of cash flow. So that's still one of my favorite. And recently, I'm very keen in another company called big company. Actually, it's Goldfield. I'm more, more little bit higher market cap than you do, Jay, because I'm managing a pretty large portfolio of my family. Goldfield itself is 7th largest gold miner in the world, right? They purchased Barrick asset from Australia over a year ago. So any company who buy Barrick's asset went through the roof because Barrick sell their valuable asset at the bottom of the market.
Had to.
We know that.
Yeah, they were stressed. They had to sell. Yeah.
So you look at their report last quarter. Their Australia asset bought from Barrick generated over $100 million in cash flow. Okay, and then their South Africa Deep South. The South Deep, the mine started turning around, right? They started to generate the first cash flow last quarter. Hopefully, it will continue to improve, and it's a complete turnaround story. It's a very big mine, 7th largest gold miner, but right now it's still at single digit. I think this one has a lot of room to run.
All right, well, let's switch to energy. At least one of our listeners and maybe one of your subscribers ask you to comment on Canacol Energy and Pan Orient. Those are, I believe, they've been two of your favorites, Chen, and they've certainly been really good performers. Can you just comment on those two, perhaps?
Oh, yeah, they are just in those. Right now, we are heading into the energy shoulder season, right? The oil price generally weakened during the fall. Remember, 2 years ago, I actually predicted oil crash from $100.
Yes, you did.
To my target was 47, I think, but actually overshoot my target. So always, because summer driving season finished, refiners switching over from one type of fuel to the other to winter fuel. So always there will be weekend demand. So in the fall season, always weak for oil. So right now, market doesn't know that the fund managers are in kind of chaotic. They don't know what to do, right? There's a run, there's push. Some want to run toward energy, some want to pull out of energy. So there's a lot of confusion in the market. So those stock doesn't move much, but they all have very important catalysts coming. In particular, Pan Orient, the drilling of their East Jabon, that will be one of the largest onshore conventional discovery, in the world. That's scheduled to drill in Q4. Okay, that's why I've been waiting for 5 years, and it's about to happen. They also have high impact tie drilling. Market doesn't pay attention because the company relocated in Thailand, their management relocated in Thailand. It really doesn't have much promotion going on. So.
Yes.
So that's what. And the same for Canacol. Canacol doesn't do much promotion. Like Charles Gama, I met a couple of months ago when I was visiting Colombia. He doesn't like to travel. He doesn't want to meet analysts. He just want to stay there to drill, to produce oil and gas. You pick your choice, Jay. You want the most promoted company on earth and create all these boom and bust and pump and dump, and it's very common in Canada. Or you go for the most down-to-the-earth management, and then who really focus on execution. And none of these companies have done any promotion. Especially Pan Orient is complete zero promotion. Canacol, there's some company follow it, broker follow that. That's pretty much. But the key for Canacol is they're generating a lot of cash flow every day. Because their natural gas, they're selling at $5 and change, and then cost them $1 to produce.
Wow!
Not a single company on earth, energy company I can say, is generating that kind of profit margin, right? Including all these majors. So that's a key. So they just do it step by step, consolidate the area, generate cash flow. The stock will appreciate. Both of the company already appreciate this year, but not as much as some other. Near bankruptcy candidate, but they did quite well this year. But I'm just holding. I haven't talked much on my newsletter. I haven't traded much. I'm just holding the stock.
Yeah. Long-term investment. You're looking at intrinsic value, Chen, and not hot air that some of these companies sell on. And of course, both these companies generate their own cash flow. They haven't needed to go to the investment banks to raise capital, so there's no need to get their story out there that much. They just simply tend to their knitting and get their business done and do an excellent job. So those are two that I have in my letter as well, thanks to you, Chen. Now, go to we have to ask you about your biotechs. We got maybe 3-4 minutes left. Sarepta and Sorrento have been two of your mainstay biotechs. Talk to us briefly about both of those companies, if you would, please.
Yeah, Sarepta has been huge winner for me in the past 10-year decade. I consider it's one of the best winners. I mean, it's already 4-digit game for me. I sold a little bit more than half recently. The reason is not because the story is no good, because we're still waiting for FDA decision. I think the chance of approval still is 80%. Okay, it's a risk reward at current price still is very good, but I'm just up so much, so I have to take some off the table.
Sure,
that's the only reason. I would never forgive myself if the other units go the other way and I lost much of my profit. Right, so that's a problem. Sorrento has some gains this year, but has been rather disappointing compared with my standard. Stock would go now over $7 change. Used to be $5, but it's still not as good as I had hoped. Part of the reason is the management, they push out the other Patrick Sousson, which is is a billionaire in California. There's a little bit, I think, power struggle between those two. So there's some shareholder who was with Patrick Sousson. Maybe they're selling, they're leaving the company, leaving the stock. So that's great. But stock, look at the chart. Stock's building a solid bottom. And they have done a very good deal with a French company, one of the largest French independent pharmaceutical company. Look at the deal, preclinical deal is one of the best in the industry. So the assets there, I think it just needs some patience. That's all I can say.
Yeah, patience is a virtue for sure. Sometimes, but there's that time value of money. But at the same time, Chen, you seem to find ways, always something on your list, something that you're following that allows you to do some trading too. So you have these long-term investments like you do in Canacol, Pan-Orient, and to a great extent, Sarepta and Sorrento. You sort of trade and invest both of those, don't you? And Sarepta, I would ask you this, Chen, before we let you go. I saw just a moment ago that Sarepta was selling at $26.36. Let's say you say 80% likely that they're going to get approval. If they get approval, where do you think this stock could go short term?
Likely to the $40 range.
Up to the $40.
And then they need to raise money. Then all the shorts will get out, and then the fund will move in because it's such a good story. So a lot of biotech will likely move in. The stock will, I see, gradually go up, eventually maybe to triple digit. But that will take some time.
All right, and then you'll probably be hanging on to at least a small number of your shares, a certain percentage for the long run as an investment, long-term investment.
Right, long-term likely, but if it has a huge pop, I like to sell some because there's other things. There are other. I just mentioned that we discussed the cure of the Alzheimer's disease in the children. Right? It's very exciting. That's another story.
Yeah, there's another biotech that you're following, and
it's doing
people
doing extremely well, but it's very exciting because you think about Alzheimer's disease in the 8 months year. Baby, there's no cure. And then now they have a cure. You can see that. I mean, at least the first two baby is working very well. So if the news continue to come out, this is another spectacular story, right? So there's many other candidates I have. And EpiPen is another one, another stock actually up almost 20% today, my biotech. So
so that's
many other stories and hidden stories, and for investor, for if you really willing to look into the underneath the surface.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's why people subscribe to your newsletter. Go to miningstocks.com to sign up for What is Chen Buying, What is Chen Selling. It's not an inexpensive letter. It is meant for serious investors, but if you qualify as a serious investor, you may want to consider signing up for Chen's letter. So thanks again, Chen, for being with us, and we need to do this more often because you always have so many interesting things to talk about. Thank you for being with us, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Jay.